This project was one of the most challenging projects we have taken on to date in terms of the CNC designing aspect of this one, and I'll get into some of those challenges here in a bit. But right now you can see the initial steps of prepping this offcut of black walnut and filling the void with some pearl white epoxy. I have learned that the best way to handle pouring irregular shapes is to start with a small layer of tabletop epoxy. Tabletop epoxy is far thicker than deep pour epoxy, and by doing this step you can ensure the bottom layer will seal up against the void. If you just started with deep pour epoxy, the chance for springing a leak goes up exponentially because deep pour epoxy is basically as thin as water is, and despite all your best efforts, leaks will happen, and I didn't want to waste any epoxy around the outside of the void. I also used some white epoxy with liquid pigment to fill in some of the cracks and checks on the top and the bottom. I used liquid pigment here because I really wanted them to show up, and had I used powder pigment, they wouldn't have shown up that well. As I was getting the initial pours done, I was also simultaneously doing the design work for this piece. My brother had this idea for a piece of wall art for his wife for Mother's Day. He wanted me to come up with a way where I could inlay each member of the family's exact palm print on the piece, but he also wanted them to be on top of each other, like a team huddle kind of a deal. The first hurdle was getting all of their handprints uploaded into the computer while maintaining the exact dimensions of each of their hands. So he sent me photocopies of each of their hands, as well as the outline of each of their hands on some graph paper, so I had some way of matching the scale of their hands. I then uploaded each of their photocopied hands into Vectric, bitmap traced, cleaned them up, matched the sizes, then added them to the layout. As you can see here, I drew the rough shape of the offcut piece in Vectric, and then placed each of their hands on the design and stacked them up. He also wanted the text T-Muma along the top in a fun font and the Roman numerals of the year we created this. Each palm print would be a different color, so there were going to be a number of trips on and off the CNC to do this. So making sure I was exact and getting the piece back in the exact same spot was also a fun challenge. But it also allowed me to create some semi-permanent fences on my CNC deck, and it made it much easier. Having these fences in place and always having the same origin point on all of my projects allow me to carve multiple pieces at once and make my shop much more efficient. After I was done with all the epoxy work, it was on to sanding and polishing. I often get asked why I don't shoot video of the sanding and polishing process, and to be honest, it's super boring stuff. And I struggle to get many people to watch all of my videos anyway, so in the off chance I get a few to stay with the video this long, I really don't want to bore them by having a video of me sanding. After the sanding and polishing were done, it was on to finishing, and we went with Rubio Monocoat for this one. All in all, while this piece was quite challenging, we feel it came out really well and checked all the boxes that my brother had come up with. I'm sure there may have been an easier way to upload all of their palm prints, but we wanted to get them exact, with all the personal bumps and shapes of their hands, rather than just go with a generic palm print off the internet, and we feel it really came out well. Well, that's about it for this project, so please make sure to like, follow, and subscribe to our channel or page to see what we come up with next. Thank you for watching, and if you are one of the less than 2% of people that watched the video until this point, comment with your favorite type of wood species to be entered into our summer giveaway, in which we will be giving $150 of shop credit. You can use this credit towards any item we have in stock, or to any custom item you may want. It could be a coffee table or end table, maybe a charcuterie board or a cribbage board, or a custom piece of wall art. Entries will close on August 31st, and the winner will be announced Monday, September 2nd. Thanks again, everybody, and we will see you on the next one.